Yo, what's good? Life is strange here. Like, sub, do all that. But today we're back with our favorite Grand Mason, Adam22, also known as the head of the Cuck clan. He recently interviewed a female actor whose work I wasn't familiar with, if you catch my drift. But after a little research, wink wink, I feel like I know as much as I need to know about her. Anyway, shorty's name is Melissa Stratton, and her and Adam talked for about 30 minutes about the whole entire Sean from Hot Ones Super Bowl scandal, if you'd even call it that. And I just thought I'd call out some of the delusion from this interview. So yeah, with all that out the way, let's get right into it.
How did you start hanging out with Sean Evans? Let's start from the beginning of this whole tale.
You want to know?
I do. I want to know how you guys met.
You have been at the start and at the end of this, okay?
The start?
Yeah, you ready for this? So the very first time he messaged me, he DM'd me on Insta, and it was at your birthday party, your Plug Talk No Jumper birthday party.
He was not there.
No, he wasn't there. He DM'd me while I was at the party. And I remember that because I was like, oh my God, like, I'm a fan of the show. Everyone's a fan of Hot Ones. Like, I really respect him, and I think he's really smart. That's usually my type. So I was like, oh my God, this can't possibly be him. So I showed my girlfriends that were there with me, like, oh my God, look at this, you know? And it was funny because he said, he was like, hey, just curious, were you into bald guys? And I was like, oh my God, I got to think of something funny to say back. So we all were like, okay, say like, well, do you know who Johnny Sins is? You know? So that was the first time that he talked to me.
And how do you think that he discovered you? Was it potentially from me tagging you at the party, or like just other people tagging you at the party, or you think he just happened to be digging around?
I think he happened to be digging around. I really don't know. I asked him that. He just said on Insta, you know, so I was just like, okay, like, I'm not that hard to find.
Okay.
But yeah.
And had you ever really dealt with like a famous dude before, or was this kind of the most famous dude that you've dealt with?
I would say he's definitely the most well-known.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, like, I really do keep my personal life private. I don't really like blab about everything, but like this was the first person that like I went out in public with, and we were like, you know, like going places and doing things together. So
what was the first hangout like, and where did it take place?
Okay, first hangout was in Chicago because that's where he's from and that's where I'm at. Okay. So we met up that weekend. So I think it's funny, like if you took a picture with Sean in the past couple months in Chicago, I took that photo for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? People would be like, here, take a picture. And I'd be like, okay.
So you were hanging out for a month or a couple months?
A couple months, yeah.
Right. And what was the first date like? What kind of things does a Sean Evans type character and a Melissa Stratton do on a first date?
We're very normal. I'm really kind of like nerdy too. So we just like went out to dinner. We went to the museum. It's like my favorite in Chicago. And yeah, we just kind of like walked around the city and hung out. So.
And how much porn conversation was there? How long did it take?
A lot.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's who I am. That's what I'm proud of. That's what I do. Like, I'm not trying to hide that from anyone. And I don't want anyone that's with me to want to hide that either. You know?
And what were his comments about it, though? Did he seem intrigued by it, weirded out by it?
No, kind of uninterested, really. He was like, yeah, it's cool, whatever. Like, it's fine. You know? So I think looking back now, I don't think he realized what he was getting into, even though I would ask him, you know? Like, even to this day, I don't think he ever Googled me. Like, I don't think he saw my content. I think he thought, like, okay, she's a porn star, whatever, but like a don't ask, don't tell kind of thing, which I'm not really that comfortable with. And like when I would have a big like win or success or like a new scene come out, I'd want to share that with him. And he'd be polite about it, but he wasn't into it at all.
Shaking my head. If a female asks me who Johnny Sins is, there's a 0% chance I'm wifing that. I'll probably still beat it down because I'm nasty like that, but who am I kidding? Wifing, man, that's brazy. There is no way in hell any woman has any business knowing who Johnny Sins is. And if they do know who he is, I'm assuming there's probably a 90% chance he agrees. What? But hey, different strokes for different folks, I guess. No kizzy though, I've lost a lot of respect for Adam lately over some of his actions, but one thing I'll admit he still got so on lock is his interview ability. Man wastes no time getting right into the shit we want to hear about. But I need y'all to let me know if I'm tripping or not. Did y'all hear some of what Shorty said when she was all like after her big scene or win, she'd want to celebrate with her man and watch the scene with him? Pretty much saying she wanted her man to watch her getting dicked down by another man. Am I old-fashioned, or are we all on the same page here? That is insanity, right? Please let me know down below in the comments if I'm tripping or not, because of course Adam isn't going to give any pushback to Shorty he's with. He without a doubt thinks she's 100% in the right and is probably pissed at Sean from Hot Ones for not enjoying watching his girl get piped out knowing Adam.
I can relate to that because I had a girl that I hung out with for a few months prior to being with Lena, and she was a pretty big porn star at the time, and I kind of liked her, and I just sort of like lived oblivious to her content for a period of time, just didn't check it out. And then we got in a big fight one night, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to the hub and I'm gonna watch her get
What was your reaction?
It made me feel better about the fact that we were in a big fight. Like watching her take 10 nuts to the face just kind of felt like, okay, now I feel a little bit better about this whole thing. But okay, so
Understandable.
everything was good for a couple of months. Would you say that you guys were actually dating, or what was it like?
No, it was a slow start. I didn't feel like we were really dating until we like went to the Super Bowl, and he's like introducing me as his girlfriend.
Really? Okay, so
You
how does
know.
that conversation start?
What do you mean?
The let's go to the Super Bowl conversation, because if you were attempting to keep the relationship low key, hanging out in Chicago, going to restaurants and museums and shit, no problem, easy to stay low key.
Yeah.
As soon as you go to the Super Bowl, it's like the greatest media circus of the year, right?
I know, right? So like I inferred like this is fine, you know? And I would ask him, like even when we were in LA and like going to dinner and like doing stuff, I'd be like, let's take a picture, let's do this, and then I'd be like, I'm gonna post that, is that okay? And he'd be like, yeah, that's fine. Like I always asked and made sure it was okay with him. So whatever. But so he was in a commercial and was like, he actually shot the commercial when we were like talking, we were like kind of dating or hanging out or whatever. And he was really proud of it. I was like, that's so cool. I got to see like some behind the scenes and whatever. And he was like, part of the gig is they're giving me tickets to the Super Bowl. And I was like, that's amazing. Like the Chiefs are going. Actually, at the time, I don't think we knew the Chiefs were going to make it there. So, and I'm a huge fan. Like I lived in KC for a while. Like I've always been a Chiefs fan. I love it. So I was really excited. So then when they got in, he was like, do you want to go with me? And I was like, are you sure you don't want to take like one of your guy friends, some of your family? Like, is there anyone? And he was like, no, I really want to take you. I think we'd have a great time.
And did you guys ever have the conversation about posting each other prior to going to Vegas? Because you hadn't posted him before this, correct? Before the Super Bowl weekend?
I guess I hadn't tagged him.
Okay.
Like I think he'd been like in like the background or like his hands or like maybe like you could see something, but yeah, I hadn't like tagged him yet.
Okay.
You know?
And so the Super Bowl weekend thing was great?
Yeah, it was fantastic. We had a ton of fun. We went around to like so many events. Like it was 3 days, and we were together the whole time at every single one of these events, taking photos and talking to people.
Right.
So
And did you guys ever have a conversation about basically the fact that his job and his career in some ways sort of necessitates him keeping a clean image, and that anything even slightly sketchy is probably not going to be good when you're like the face of this gigantic brand?
Yes and no. Like his brand isn't that sensitive to him having a squeaky clean image, in my opinion. Like I think you do have to be sensitive about, you know, the age group of your audience, like that sort of thing. But there's quite a bit of overlap between his show demographics and content that I do. So it's, you know, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think he didn't have a problem with me posting him. He was tagged in the things that I posted. It was mostly just my IG story, you know, because I wasn't trying to like brag. I was just proud of the person that I was with, you know, and the person that gave me that opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. Like,
right. Most people don't really get to experience that.
No.
Yeah. Well, so the way that I found out about it was Lena mentioning it to me, and she said, hey, I seen Melissa Stratton posting all these photos with Sean Evans. I'm like, I saw that too. She goes, but I also looked at Sean's and I noticed he didn't post anything.
I know.
And I said, that is interesting.
Well. Okay.
Oh, Adam, man. Remember when you used to make crazy waves in hip-hop like that time you interviewed a young XXXTentacion? Or got to interview a young Little Peep when he was still a member of Schema Posse? How times have changed. It seems like nowadays his content strictly revolves about corn, no Nebraska. Don't get me wrong, it's still entertaining. I just don't think anything will ever top that era of No Jumper, no matter how many times he goes viral for letting another man smash his wife. But did you peep when Adam said, I used to date this corn star, and when we got into a fight, I watched a video for getting splooged by 10 other men to make me feel better? This proves that Adam's cuck tendencies were around way before Lena. Something to keep an eye out for. Back to the broad though. Y'all really think she was a huge Chiefs fan? Like, let's be honest, this shorty looks like she gives zero fucks about football. Oh, I'm a huge Chiefs fan? Oh, shut up. The more she talks, the more angry I get. I feel like there's a lot of delusion coming from her, especially how she retells things from her perspective. Y'all let me know down below in the comments if y'all are getting the same vibes or if I'm just a loser who gets no cat. But to be honest, it seems like Sean made the right move. I don't know that much about him, but the fact that he left shorty is a plus for me because it hasn't been less than a month and she's already on the messiest platform, No Jumper, giving up a messy interview. Man, I wish women could just get done with the relationship without letting the world know everything about it, but
And behind the scenes, what I'm actually doing, you know.
As an OnlyFans girl, very much it becomes part of your nature to post on social media as much as possible because the whole job is to draw attention to yourself and kind of always be reminding.
I'd be like, hang on, I got to take some titty pics in the bathroom and like put them on my OF page. Like he was aware of like my job and what I was doing and taking photos for, you know? So I don't know. It's all good. I just think like when push comes to shove, like you think you're going to be fine with it, and then you change your mind, and that's totally okay.
Right.
Like, I get it. If this is not for you, don't waste my time.
But so the whole time you were in Vegas at the Super Bowl, all good. Then I believe it was like Monday morning, all the meme accounts and the news accounts and stuff start posting a photo of you together and say that you guys are dating. And that's when the whole thing really starts to pop off. Was this intentional in any way? Or?
No, definitely not. And I think the thing that hurts my feelings the most is people think it's a PR stunt and they think that I did it. And I'm like, fun little fact is that he had texted me on Monday night and was like, hey, you might want to take some of your photos down because I'm getting a lot of heat. And I was like, oh, like, all right, way to say that you're embarrassed to be seen with me. Like, that kind of like made me upset, but I just turned my phone off and went to bed.
And that makes me feel like he was kind of naive to the whole thing, because it's like, yeah, I can take down some of my racy Instagram photos, but it's not going to change my Pornhub search results.
They already have it screenshotted. They already have it. Like, I was like, what are you talking about? But
and whatever's on your Instagram is not anywhere near as grotesque or extreme as stuff that you've done on camera, right?
Right. Yeah.
Grotesque probably wasn't the right word.
Grotesque.
Sorry.
Yeah. Shocking. Yeah. I don't know.
Sorry. That's not a good
graphic.
word.
Graphic was the word you're
looking
for.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's okay. But so what I'm trying to say is he knew about this coverage, whatever story before I did, but like didn't tell me. You know what I mean? I thought he was just like kind of trying to maybe be mean a little bit. Like, you know what? I didn't really want to be seen with you, so take all that down. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, whatever, go to bed. The next morning I wake up and it's all over the news. So I would have appreciated if he had said, hey, this is getting picked up. We need to make a statement, or can you like wipe your socials? Can you go private? Like, if he had told me like why or whatever, then maybe it would have turned out a little different.
But so you would have been willing to wipe your Instagram just to keep this relationship going?
But like, no, but I think like I would have been more sensitive to it. You know what I mean? Like, if it's like, I'm not going to let anybody control me or tell me what to do or like take down my stuff. But at the same time, like, if you are getting heat, if it's affecting your job, that's not my goal. Like, I don't want that for you. I didn't want that for him. So yeah, I probably would have adjusted some things.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you approach a woman with listen, this is going to be weird for me, I'm a little bit, cautious. If you were to show a little bit of your emotional side, then maybe you would have been a little bit more accommodating. Whereas instead, he just sort of let it happen.
Yeah,
right?
he was just kind of like, okay, whatever. I was like, if you really cared, have me sign an NDA. I'll stay out of all the photos. Like, I'm like, if you really cared, there are way different ways to handle this. And I think he just kind of like didn't think. I think one of the things too is I don't think that he realized how much porn I'd done, how much studio porn I'd done. I'm not just an OnlyFans girl. Like, I'm kind of in every avenue of adult work. And so, not every, but you know what I mean? Like, I've done a lot of studio porn. That's why I call myself a porn star. And so he doesn't really watch it. He doesn't really, like, in general. So I don't think he really understood. But I was like, other people are going to connect the dots, even if you don't. And he was just like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah, because like when the me, Lena, Jason Love story was going on, it was like, people went through every single podcast that we ever did to find any instance in which I said that I wouldn't let another guy her or whatever. It's like, if once something like this happens, the internet sleuths are going to find every single thing possible.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's kind of a shame because realistically, if you guys didn't do the Super Bowl thing, you probably could have kept seeing each other for many, many more months before anybody would have given a shit. Because that's the weird thing about the position that he's in. He's the host of one of the most popular shows on the internet, but never really seen him in the gossip mill, like never heard anybody talk about his personal life. And that's a nice spot to be in.
Yeah.
I'm somebody who's always kind of been like, listen, I'm trying to get well known, so I'm going to use whatever avenue I can. So if it's gossip and drama, fine. I'm going to inject myself
into that. It's like a different mindset.
Exactly.
Yeah, he does not have that at all. He's a very private person, very chill, maybe a little bit shy. And to be honest, I'm kind of the same way. I think that's why we kind of like vibed on that, But like now, I'm not really given the choice. Like, my info's everywhere. People are in my business, so it's like I didn't provide any statements. I didn't like do anything. You're the first podcast or person I've talked to because you're the only one that asked or wanted to know.
Man, boo fucking who? I don't feel bad at all for Shorty talking about it hurt when he asked her to take the photos down. Like, yeah, bitch, take the photos down. You don't want them up anymore. I'm about to go on a little rant real quick, but I'm so tired of these OF models and former adult actresses being so shocked and upset when dudes that are in power positions don't want to mess with them for the long term. No matter how much these models try to normalize corn and try to make it seem like it's a normal job, it is not, and it never will be. It is a taboo form of entertainment. There's a reason why you see football posts and Netflix movies plastered all over social media and all on people's pages, and there's a reason you don't see people post their favorite corn scenes or their favorite corn actors, because no matter how popular it is, people just keep that stuff to themselves and do that type of shit in the dark where it belongs. Can y'all please let me know why these adult film women act like this? I just don't understand it. It never will. All in all, it seems like Sean made the right decision on dipping out before things blew up too bad, because I mean, the story was huge, but it's already starting to die down a couple news cycles later. So he got out at a good time if you ask me, but I need y'all to let me know down below about all this. About Adam, about the broad, about corn. Let me know down below in the comments. But that's gonna do it for this video. I'm out.